All right, another error of the so-called Hebrew Israelites. They want to try to say that all Israelites are black or some version of that. Basically, they try to say that there is evidence in the Bible that the Israelites were black. And one of the things that they try to use to say that is in Judges, where it says Samson had 7 locks of hair. Now, locks of hair doesn't refer to a dreadlock, but that's the way that they think of it, But that's not the way people spoke back then. A lock of hair was just a section of hair, like a grouping of hair. I mean, people spoke that. That's why you have the story of Goldilocks and the 3 bears. Yeah, right? It was about a little blonde-headed girl. It's not a blonde-headed girl that had dreadlocks. It was talking about her curly hair. It was the curls of her hair. That's the way they would talk back then. But when it says he had 7 locks, this is talking about 7 braids, right? It's not just 7 curls. It's 7 braids. And the proof for that, I'm going to show you. You can see this in the Hebrew. This is just a Strong's Concordance. The 7 locks in my head, this is where Samson's talking about it. 4253 is the Hebrew word. So you go back here to the back. 4253. It's from 2498. But this word, it says a ringlet of hair as gliding over. And this gliding is emphasized because that's what the word means. It's like literally gliding over each other, which is a braid. And that doesn't mean matted together like a dreadlock. If you look at the word that is from 2498, a primitive root properly to slide by, to pass through. It's to go through it. It's a smoothness tied into it. And you can look at this. So that's 2498. And this is here, it's coded to Strong's Jacinius Hebrew Chaldee Lexicon of the Old Testament. 2498. 2498, to slip, to glide. Spoken of the swift motion of anything smooth. Primary idea being the smoothness or slipperiness as of fat things. To pass by, to pass through. It's literally like the word describes what happens when a person has braids. It passes through. It slides over the top of the other hair. That's how you make a braid. And that's what it's talking about. He had 7 braids. It's not matted together. It's the gliding over. It's the passing through or the slide by it. That's what you do when you make a braid of hair. So literally, it's not, like I was saying with Goldilocks, when you see locks, you can't have this type of anachronistic use of terminology where you're like, because it says locks in this day and age, we say locks, we're talking about dreadlocks, therefore it must mean dreadlocks. That's not the way to do proper Bible study, right? Because they use terms differently back then. People would have locks of hair to remember folks by. They cut off, bunches of hair and tie it together, and they'd have a lock of hair to remember people by. And back then, we just don't use those terms today. But I'm just showing you, according to the Hebrew, it was a braid. 7 locks of Samson were 7 braids. They weren't 7 dreadlocks. So once again, they refer to these type of things to try to prove their doctrine, but it's all error. Their whole doctrine is just based upon erroneous interpretation of the scriptures.
Barakatha Yahweh, Barakatha Yahweh Shai, Barakatha Yahweh, Barakatha Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rakak Wadash, this Ya'aki Majulazil, back with another quick lesson. I'm going to make this quick. Salaki, this is my second attempt trying to record, Esau Edom, man, with this technology. The devil always trying to hinder the spirit, or quench the spirit. Let's go into this opening topic by this clip that I showed in the beginning. You have this Edomite that's stating that the Hebrew Israelites always stating that everyone is so-called black in the Bible. And no, everyone in the Bible is not so-called black. You know, you got Esau Edom, which his skin tone, you know, he's an Edomite, you know. He's a Hebrew, but he's an Edomite. We're Hebrew, but we're Israelites. That's his nation. Edom, the self-proclaimed white man. And his skin is red. He came out red, you know. But his skin was translucent, man. That's why you could see through. That's why you see the red. And also being that it's translucent, it give off the appearance of being white. And we came from the earth, you know. And if you dig into the earth, you will find the texture of the earth, or the complexion of earth is various shades of brown, man. So if you dig into the earth, that's what you will see, various shades of brown. And that's what we make up, you know. And I agree. Everybody in the Bible is not so-called black, but all the patriarchs, the patriarch arts are, man. The patriarchs are. They have melanin in their skin, just like Samson, man. You know, and I'm going to just go ahead and get into it, man. This is the book of Judges 13:1. And the subtitle read, Philistines oppress again the birth of Samson. Verse 1. And the children of Israel did evil again in the sight of the Lord, and the Lord delivered them into the hands of the Philistines 40 years. And there was a certain man of Zorah, of the family of the Danites. The Danites are of the northern kingdom, which consists of the so-called Native Americans, the so-called Mexicans, you know, and etc., man, which actually they're the, you know, Native Americans are the Gadites, and the Mexicans are the Issacharites, you know, and the tribe of the Danites are from the northern kingdom, man. You know, the southern kingdom makes up the tribe of Judah, which is the so-called Negroes, the Benjaminites, which are the Jamaicans, you know, the Levites, which are the Haitians, you know. So we make up the southern kingdom. But the Danites are part of the tribes of the northern kingdom, man. Let's read verse 2 again. And there was a certain man of Zorah, of the family of the Danites, whose name was Manoah, and his wife was barren and bare not. And the angel of the Lord appeared unto the woman and said unto her, Behold, now thou art barren and bearest not, but thou shalt conceive and bear a son. Now there beware, Salaki, now therefore beware, I pray thee, and drink not wine nor strong drink, and eat not any unclean thing. For lo, thou shalt conceive and bear a son, and no razor shall come on his head. For the child shall be a Nazarite unto Yahweh from the womb, and he shall begin to deliver. He shall begin to deliver Israel out of the hands of the Philistines. Let's go, and that's why he had locks in his hair. You know, I'm not gonna go into the lock subject, but I'm gonna just go and make it simple, man. You know, with this whole black and white concept. And let's look at the word Nazarite.
Strong's H 5139. Nazir.
In the outline of biblical uses, he says consecrated or devoted one, Nazarite, consecrated one, devoted, Nazarite, untrimmed. Let's see what the word, let's go into what this word consecrate means. I already have it pulled up.
Consecrate.
So the word consecrate says make or declare something, typically a church, sacred, dedicated formally to a religious or a divine purpose. And let's see some of the similar words right here. It says sanctified, set apart as or declare holy, consecrate, bless. So so Samson was blessed right there. It says of God. Let me read it verbatim. It says of God on some notional higher power, and though someone with a particular cherished thing or attribute. Again, blessed. So Samson, being that he was a Nazarite from birth, he was blessed from birth, man. So being consecrated means blessed. So if he's trying to portray that Samson was a so-called white person, let's debunk his myth, man. Let's go to the book of Numbers and 12. And the point is that, let's see right here. Let's go to 8. No, let's go to 7. It says, this is the book of Numbers 12 and 7. It says, my servant Moses is not so. Oh, let's jump up a verse. Yeah, let's go to 5. The book of Numbers 12 and 5. It says, and the Lord came down in the pillar of the cloud and stood in the door of the tabernacle and called Aaron and Miriam, and they both came forth. And he said, hear now my words. If there be a prophet among you, the Lord will make myself known unto him in a vision, and will speak unto him in a dream. My servant Moses is not so, who is faithful in all my house. With him will I speak mouth to mouth, even apparently, and not in dark speeches. And the similitude of the Lord shall be beheld. Wherefore then were ye not afraid to speak against my servant Moses? And the anger of the Lord was kindled against them, and he departed. And the cloud departed from off the tabernacle. And behold, Miriam became leprous, white as snow. And Aaron looked upon Miriam, and behold, she was leprous. So let's look at what the word leprous means, white as snow. So if you're trying to say, this Edomite is trying to say Samson was not so-called black, right? Which I agree, but he did have melanin skin, which his tone was of a brown, what you want to say, a brown complexion, Let's see what leprous means. And Samson was consecrated, which was blessed from birth. So let's look what leprous mean.
Strong's H 6879. Tsarah.
It says The outline biblical uses: to be diseased of the skin, be leprous, to be a leper, to have leprosy. Let's see, a primitive root, to be stricken with leprosy. Let's see. One smitten, inasmuch as the plague of lepers was regarded as being sent by Yahweh, as of course it really was. So actually, the leprous, I'm trying to find where it says, but actually lepers, being a leprous is what? A curse, man. It's a being so-called white is a curse, man. So Samson was blessed from birth, man. So why would you think Samson would have a pale skin or white skin where according to the Bible that is a disease? Actually, it's a curse, man. You know. Matter of fact, so like let's go here. So I put, is leprosy a curse from God? It says historically, leprosy was often seen as a divine curse or punishment for sin in religious texts. So leprosy is a curse, man. You know, but Samson was what? Consecrated. Samson was blessed from birth, man. So let that make sense. If he's trying to portray as Samson being a so-called a non-black person, as he's trying to say, which I agree, you know, in a modern sense, he was an Israelite from the tribe of Dan, which he had melanin skin, man. So he was blessed. He was consecrated. He was blessed from birth, man. So Samson was an Israelite. He did not look like a so-called white man. Samson looked like he had melanin skin, man. You know, he had melanin skin. That's what he had, man. And I'm gonna end the lesson there, man. Hope the body was edified. Till next time, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, by Hashem Yahweh Shai, by Hashem Rakak Wadash. Again, this Shagi Majula Zil, Lord willing. I'll be back with another lesson. Till next time, Shalom, Barakatham, and the Bible Ball. Shalom.